guys, welcome back to A Page in the Chapter, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Paige and today we are going through my August TBR. Now if any of you have seen my mid-year check-in slash goals for the end of the year, then you'll know that I am really excelling on my Goodreads goal this year, and I very much attribute that to mood reading, and mood reading is really something that I want to do more of this year. So I'm still trying to find a nice balance for myself with TBRs versus mood reading. And for my August TBR, I kind of just want to go through all of the books that I am really in the mood for and very much planning on getting to in the month of August, or at least I think I am. From one book to the next my mood could change, but just kind of as we're coming towards the end of July and entering into August, I really want to share the books that I am particularly in the mood for and excited to get to at some point. And I like doing TBRs because I do like having kind of a record of my moods, but also just a record of what is on my list, like what's on my radar, particularly because sometimes with mood reading you can reach a point where you really want to read but you can't quite figure out what you're in the mood to read. And I find having set TBRs quite useful in those times because I don't waste a week trying to figure out what I'm in the mood for. I just have something there already for me. So that is kind of what I want to use this for. If you guys enjoy TBRs and wrap-ups, then do please feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below and stay tuned for future content. I upload every single Wednesday and every single Sunday, and there is a TBR and a wrap-up every single month here on this channel. It's some of my favourite content, so without further ado, let's get on into my August TBR because I know that I am real excited for these books. So a lot of these books will be from my physical TBR because I really need to put the focus on getting some books off my physical TBR and kind of catching up with my book subscriptions and things like that. So pretty much all of these books, I think all of them, like books that I'm in the mood for, I'm trying to choose very much from my physical TBR, and I haven't done as much of it in July as I wanted to because of the magical hopathon and having that set TBR. So there's a lot that I'm really in the mood for now, and one of those books is Crossed by Emily McIntyre. This is the third book in the Never After series, which is like a dark romance fairy tale retelling series. I believe the first book is like Wendy and Captain Hook. The second book was, I think, loosely based on The Lion King, and I have absolutely no idea what this one is based on. This is a priest kind of romance, and I've never read one of those before, and I'm intrigued. I've been reading outside of my comfort zone a lot this past month, and I've just been really in the mood for this book. These are always very easy to read. They are not necessarily the best literature out there. I think I normally give them 3 to 3.5 stars, but they're just very easy to read. You always know what you're going to get with them. Dark, trashy romance, good time. So this follows our main character Amaya, and during the daytime she is caring for her brother, and of an evening she turns into Esmeralda, who is, I guess, kind of like an escort, and Father Cade, the priest in this world, ends up crossing paths with her, and he believes that she is into witchcraft because she has kind of taken over his every waking thought, and we follow the relationship between these two. It's kind of giving Hunchback of Notre Dame vibes, but I don't know for sure what Disney this is based on, if anything. It's just because the past two felt quite loosely Disney based, and some of the other books in this series are, so I assume this one is as well. But if anyone knows, please let me know because it's not one that I have seen. I'm really hoping to get to this one. I think it'll be one of the first books that I pick up. I'm just really in the mood for another one of these books now. The next book on my August TBR is Stolen Heir by Sophie Lark. This is book 2 in the Brutal Birthright series. I read the first book, Brutal Prince, a couple months ago now, and again this is kind of just like dark romance, trashy. You know what you're gonna get from it. These are mafia romances. I think we can kind of tell what mood I'm in. I really enjoyed Brutal Prince because because it was a marriage of convenience, and that is my favourite trope, and I do really enjoy it in like a mafia setting because it's kind of Romeo and Juliet vibes. I don't know, it's just trashy and good fun. I had such a good time with that book that I have been really meaning to continue on with this series. It took me a little while to get the second book in the series because my local Waterstones kept selling out of it, but this book follows Nessa, and we met Nessa in the last book, and Nessa doesn't play a role in her family's mafia. She doesn't really have the mindset for business, she doesn't really want any part in it, so she just kind of gets excluded from the family business. And this is I don't even know what you would call this, but basically Nessa is taken captive, taken prisoner by a rival gangster, and he keeps her prisoner. They fall in love. I don't know what trope that is, but it sounds trashy and easy and fun, and this book just, it's very floppy. I do love a floppy paperback. It's quite short. I think this is just going to be a really easy, really fun way to spend my time, and I have been really looking forward to getting into the rest of the Brutal Birthright series. You will probably see many more of these books in future TBRs. I'm just a little bit obsessed with this series. The next book I have on my TBR is The Wren in the Holly Library by K.A. Lind. This is a fairy loot romantasy pick, and I need to start catching up on my subscription boxes, catching up on the books that arrive at my door every month, and this sounds really fun. I do really enjoy a romantasy, and this is another dark romance. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I think like I'm just really in the mood for some dark romances. I want the trashiness of it, I want the silliness of them. I really enjoy the fact that you kind of need to read with blinders on. Like, to read dark romance or like mafia romance and things like that, I think you really have to not poke holes in it and just really take what you read at face value and not think too much about how it fits into the real world, and I really enjoy doing that sometimes. I'm just really in the mood for that in the month of August. So first 3 picks are in fact dark romances. So this follows our main character, and she is a common street thief, and she trespasses into this library setting, and by doing that she breaks the peace treaty between humans and monsters and is trapped in the library with this monster. And instead of killing her, this monster offers her a job, and it provides our main character with an opportunity to answer questions about herself that she's always needed answering, and by the sounds of it discovering a secret power that she's always harbored but not necessarily known is a power. I have to say the blurb doesn't give too much away about the romance elements of this plot. I'm a bit nervous that that means this could read more as a fantasy with a romance plotline rather than a romantasy, but I am very intrigued to get into this, actually see how it is. Maybe they're just not giving anything away, and that could be really fun. This is one that I've kind of had on my radar, so I'm very excited to get to this one, and I'm really hoping that I enjoy it. The next book that I am really in the mood for and planning on getting to in the month of August is a novel love story by Ashley Poston. I haven't read 7 Year Slip yet, but I have read The Dead Romantics, and that was one of my favourite books of last year, I believe. I absolutely adored that book, and I cried. I kind of have heard similar things about this book in terms of making people cry and the reaction people are having to this. I've seen a lot of really positive reviews. I don't think I've seen a single negative review for this book, so I am very excited to get to this and kind of continue my journey with Ashley Poston books, and will probably end up picking up 7 Year Slip after this one if I love it, which I really do think that I am going to love this one. I am predicting a 5 stars with this one, and this follows our main character Eileen, and she finds herself in the town from one of her favourite romance stories, and she keeps trying to fit herself into the story, place the people in the town into the story, and she is chasing after happily ever after, but there is a grumpy bookshop owner who desperately doesn't want her to get to the end of the story and get a happily ever after, and this sounds very intriguing, and I just know that it won't let me down. I think Ashley Poston has such a way of writing, and I was so nervous to read The Dead Romantics because like, it didn't sound like something I would necessarily enjoy, because I read the blurb and just kept thinking, how on earth could this possibly end well? Like, how is this a romance novel? And then Ashley Poston managed to find such a good way of making that story satisfying whilst also making it so emotional, so I am very, very excited for this one. And then I know that I said that most of these books are from my physical TBR, but there are a couple that are kind of just on my radar that I will be downloading from Kindle Unlimited / Kindle. I think these are on Kindle Unlimited, but I haven't actually checked, and I will be just as disappointed as you guys are if I find out that they are not on Kindle Unlimited. But I'm in a small town romance vibe. quite incongruous to the dark romances that I have already selected for this TBR. But as well as being in the mood for dark romances, I'm also really in the mood for small town romances. I've been on such a kick with them. I've really been exploring this subgenre a lot. I'm getting to some more backlist titles and I kind of just want to continue doing that. So I have a couple on my radar that I am hoping to get to this month, and I will share them with you in case you're also looking for small town romance recs. So the first one is Unending Love by Stacey Lynn. This is part of the Kelly family series and is a series that I am hoping to start. I do always try to read romance series in order, even if they are interconnected standalones. I just think they read better that way, and I get so worried that I will get spoiled for things or I won't find them as fun if I don't read them in order. So I always try to read them in order. So even though book 2 in this series is a book that I'm more interested in, I will be starting with Unending Love in the month of August. This is a sports romance as well as a small town romance, and this is like a secret baby trope, so I feel like a lot of people probably won't be too interested in this one. I am quite nervous about how this one will read. I don't think secret baby is going to be like my favorite trope. I don't have too much of an issue with accidental pregnancy trope. I know a lot of people swear it off and hate it. I actually really don't mind reading it, but I have to really be in the mood for it, and it has to be done in a very particular way, and I'm not entirely sure that secret baby, which is not quite the same as accidental pregnancy, will be my vibe, but we'll see. So this follows our main character Caleb Kelly, and he is like a really famous hockey player, is kind of at the top of his game career wise, is doing really well for himself. But then he receives a letter from a woman he slept with years ago, letting him know that he has a child, and he really believes her because they had such a connection the night that they slept together, etc, etc. And we follow Caleb and Emily as they reunite, and Caleb gets to know his child and tries to convince Emily that they are supposed to be together and this spark hasn't dwindled, etc, etc. I think it could be really good. I'm mostly just intrigued. If I end up not liking it, or I'm not really interested in reading book 2 after this, then it's just another small town romance series that I can kind of remove from my growing catalogue of small town romances that I really want to check out. And yeah, kind of just excited to try this one. The next small town romance that I would really like to get to in August is Into the Tide by Laura Pavlov. This is a Cottonwood Cove novel. I have tried the Honey Mountain series, I think it's called, by Laura Pavlov. I might be getting that wrong, but there is another Laura Pavlov series that I've tried and I'm currently working my way through. They're okay. They're not like my favorite books ever, but I would say they're enjoyable, they're easy to read, and I'm kind of just in the mood for something different. I'm not necessarily in the mood to continue one of the series I've already started by her, but this one I think sounds really fun. This is a brother's best friend. Workplace romance. Our main character has just come home from university and her brother's best friend hires her work at his restaurant, and she asks her brother's best friend to take her virginity so she can lose it and be in this temporary situation with her brother's best friend while she's only home for the summer before she goes on with her life. I do quite like this setup to a book. I'm just intrigued, basically, and I really want to check this one out. And then the final book on my August TBR is another romantasy book, and that is Amid Clouds and Bones by Ella Fields. I really enjoyed Nectar of the Wicked by Ella Fields. It's one of my favorite romantasy books that I've ever read. Again, kind of dark, trashy, has a very red flag of a man, like male character, but he just reads very well. It's so addictive, and Ella Fields just brought out a new book at the end of July. So I am very much planning to get to this one in the month of August. I don't actually know what it's about. I don't really need to. I think it's another fae romantasy. I'm gonna look it up. But basically, if you haven't read Nectar of the Wicked, I would really recommend it because I loved that book. It was so bingeable and you could very much just devour it in a day, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about that book since I read it. And that one book alone kind of cemented Ella Fields as like a favorite romantasy author for me. Let's just say I screamed a big scream when I saw she was bringing out a new book at the end of July. Oh my god, it's arranged marriage. It's arranged marriage. It's princess arranged marriage to a fae being. If this is my this is gonna be like my favorite book of the year, I can tell. This is an enemies to lovers arranged marriage fae romantasy, and I don't need to know anymore. I'm gonna go into this blind other than those things. I have seen some of the lines that Ella Fields has been teasing on her Instagram, and I have been dying to get to this book. It is one of like the top books on like my radar to get to in August, now that I can mood read and just pick up whatever I want without a magical hopathon TBR and prompts that I need to complete, and I am so excited about this book. And so that is my August TBR. We have 4 physical books and then 3 ebooks, I think. It's a very manageable TBR for me. I very much think I can get to all of these books in the month of August, and stay tuned for the weekly vlog, as we will be tackling these in regular weekly vlogs throughout August. If you guys enjoyed this video and you've read any of these books, or you want to read any of these books, then do please let me know down in the comment section and we can have a little chat about some books. Also, do please feel free to follow me, subscribe, that subscribe's the word, for regular content every Wednesday and every Sunday, and to kind of see the wrap up to this at the end of the month. And also stay tuned for my magical hopathon wrap up. We can talk about all the books I read for that readathon and how it went. And without further ado, I hope you guys are having a fantastic week, you're enjoying everything you are reading, and there are no reading slumps in your future, and I will see you for my next video. Bye guys.